Welcome to this explainer for the We Love Pets channel. Today, we're diving into a profoundly misunderstood subject, bringing a pet bird into your home. You know, every single year, countless large parrots and smaller birds end up abandoned in shelters, and it's usually because well-meaning individuals vastly underestimate the immense lifestyle shift required to actually care for them. Unlike dogs or cats, birds are not truly domesticated. So, we're going to uncover the unvarnished reality of avian companionship.
A lot of folks bring home a brightly colored parrot expecting this cuddly, cartoonish talking companion. But the reality? Well, you've just adopted a highly sensitive, fiercely intelligent creature with the emotional intelligence of a toddler and the destructive power of a small buzzsaw. We really need to shatter that idealized image right out of the gate, because while birds are absolutely beautiful and brilliant, they are not cut out for traditional confinement, and their physical and emotional requirements are literally staggering.
To break this all down, here's our agenda. We'll start with the reality of pet birds, then look at daily avian care requirements. After that, we'll categorize the species, the heavyweights, the middleweights, and the ideal starters. Finally, we'll wrap up with the responsible adoption process.
Let's jump into Section 1, the reality of pet birds. You might picture sitting on the couch with a tranquil, cuddly little friend. But especially when you're adopting a rescue bird, you are often taking on some significant behavioral baggage. See, many rescued birds have aged way past their compliant baby stage. They might carry deep trauma from neglect or improper living conditions. And that trauma, it manifests in very real, physical, and often distressing ways. We're talking severe feather plucking, incessant screaming, or aggressive, completely unpredictable biting. Adopting means you're committing to a highly structured, patient rehabilitation process. You're not just bringing home a decoration.
Moving right along to Section 2, Daily Avian Care Requirements.
One of the absolute oldest myths in pet care is that you just give a bird a simple bowl of seeds and they're good to go. Let me be clear, that outdated diet is entirely insufficient and it can actually severely shorten the bird's lifespan. A proper, healthy avian diet is incredibly complex and demanding. It requires the daily preparation of fresh fruits, raw vegetables, and specialized nutritional pellets. You're essentially acting as a specialized nutritionist every single day.
And if you think your dog is messy, just wait. Owning a bird is an immense daily grind. They're inherently messy creatures. They scatter food, they splash water all over the place, and they spread this fine dust and seed husks everywhere. Your daily checklist includes maintaining a rigorously clean and massive cage with distinct zones for climbing and swinging, but a cage isn't enough. They desperately need substantial, supervised time outside their enclosure on playstands. They also require a constant rotation of expensive chew toys to destroy, which prevents extreme boredom and anxiety. Most importantly, though, you have to conduct multiple focused interaction and training sessions daily just to keep them mentally stable.
Now, let's look at the species themselves in Section 3, Heavyweights, large parrot species.
80. I want you to just let that number sink in for a second. Large parrots are entirely capable of living 80 years or more. This isn't a standard pet. This is a multi-generational, lifelong commitment. Bringing a large parrot into your home means you will literally need to factor them into your estate planning. These heavyweights come with intense demands. Let's start with cockatoos, like the Moluccan and umbrella species. They are incredibly needy and emotionally sensitive. In fact, they demand almost constant social activity. Without it, they are highly prone to neurotic self-mutilation. Plus, they emit a fine physical dust that very frequently triggers respiratory allergies in humans. So you're adding a major physical environment challenge on top of an already intense emotional one.
Then we have macaws, which bring an entirely different set of extreme challenges. They're highly intelligent and they form incredibly complex, deep relationships with humans. But this comes with a sheer volume level that cannot be overstated. They are biologically wired to engage in deafening shrieking fits right at sunrise and sunset. Furthermore, their formidable beaks are designed by nature to crack tough rainforest nuts. That means they can easily dismantle expensive wood toys in minutes, or quite literally sever a human finger if they feel threatened or aggressively territorial.
Rounding out our heavyweights are Amazon parrots and African greys. Now, they're celebrated as exceptional talkers and mimics, but this brilliance comes at a cost: highly unpredictable mood swings. They demand intense, ongoing intellectual stimulation to thrive. If these birds are bored, they become destructive and profoundly unhappy.
Moving down a size tier, here is Section 4, Middleweights, medium parrot species.
Just to properly set the acoustic expectations for your household, let's talk about conures and Quaker parakeets. Conures are notoriously outgoing and affectionate, which is great, but they possess a piercing screech that can absolutely blast your eardrums. It's a high-frequency noise that easily cuts right through walls. Quaker parakeets, on the other hand, are excellent talkers, but they are known for constant, high-volume chatter that lasts throughout the entire day. The noise tolerance you need for these middleweights is exceptionally high.
And then we have lories. They present a totally unique challenge because they don't eat standard pellets or seeds. Instead, they require a highly specialized liquid nectar diet. Because of this liquid diet, they produce incredibly messy, wet droppings that require constant, meticulous cleanup just to maintain basic hygiene in your home.
All right, Section 5, Ideal Starters, Smaller Bird Species.
So, on one end of the spectrum, heavyweights bring deafening shrieks and terrifying physical bite force. On the other end, starter birds like budgies, also known as American parakeets and cockatiels, offer a much more manageable acoustic profile. Their vocalizations mostly consist of pleasant singing and whistling. Plus, when they're properly hand-tamed, they can safely ride around on your shoulder without the looming threat of a dangerous bite.
However, please don't confuse the word starter with easy. The reality of caring for budgies and cockatiels still demands a very high baseline of dedication. They still require a spacious cage, not a tiny decorative enclosure. They still desperately need daily out-of-cage time to fly and exercise. They demand the exact same complex, nutritious diet of fresh foods and pellets, and they require dedicated hand taming to actually become the sociable, interactive companions you want.
Finally, we arrive at Section 6, the responsible adoption process. It is absolutely imperative that you avoid impulsive purchases from pet stores or casual online ads. The adoption process should follow rigorous steps. First, work strictly with dedicated animal shelters or specialized bird rescue groups. Next, you must undergo a thorough evaluation by the rescue. They need to precisely match a specific bird's temperament to your personal capabilities and living situation. And finally, when you are evaluating a bird, make sure they have been vetted, checking for bright plumage, clear eyes, an alert demeanor, and a clean beak.
You've got to be prepared for a highly thorough screening process here. Reputable rescues are intensely, fiercely protective of their flocks. They don't want to just give you a bird. They want to ensure these profoundly sensitive, intelligent creatures never have to face the trauma of abandonment ever again. Having patience with their process is really your first test of bird ownership.
Which brings us to our final, provocative thought. Are you truly ready for a feathered friend? Adopting a bird is not a decision to be made lightly. It is a profound lifestyle shift. But for those willing to invest the immense time, patience, and resources required, it can lead to a uniquely rewarding and lifelong bond. Thank you so much for joining me for this comprehensive explainer. Please subscribe to We Love Pets for more in-depth pet care documentaries and guides, and take the time to deeply reflect before bringing one of these magnificent creatures into your life.